Welcome to the Clinical Hour podcast. I'm Shamar Linton,
And I'm Fitzjoseph.
And I'm Brenda Roach.
and welcome to our show. Now we're into the month of May, and May is a very special month for us because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Being that we're in this month, we decided to dedicate today's episode to mental health awareness. So, stuff that will be coming on this episode is us defining what mental health is, the benefits of mental health, the early warning signs, and also things you can do to upkeep your mental health. We're also gonna have a listener's letter today. It's gonna be very intense, guys, so stay tuned for that. So, guys, what's going on? What's going on with you guys today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I had a fairly good week and looking forward to today's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
My week has been pretty hectic, but good. Hectic in a good way.
Hectic good.
Hectic in a good
Hectic
way.
good.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as hectic good.
Yeah, there is.
My week has been okay so far. I think is gonna get into hectic good from tomorrow and finish out the rest of the week. Well, into next week actually. So basically, yeah, hectic good.
Good.
Hectic
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
So if you were paying close attention to the beginning of the show and the logo, you would have noticed a slight change. So for the past two episodes, we would have had the brain within the logo, and yes, it is a brain, and it was white. And today it is green, and the green signifies us standing in solidarity with Mental Health Awareness Month. So that's the reason why it is green. For those of you who are paying attention, and those of you who are going to rewind now to see why it's green, yeah, that's why it's green. So yeah, before we get into the main topic today, we have something we would like to highlight. Well, Brenna has something that she would like to highlight, some research within the area of mental health.
Sure. So on the 10th of May, which would have been last week, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have teamed up to launch a text messaging service for people experiencing a mental health crisis. So
Okay.
this is falling into the same mental health awareness
Mhm.
and everything that we're dealing with. And they're quite excited about this initiative.
Mhm.
It's supposed to provide instant support for people. You can have conversations anywhere and at any time, at school, at home, on the bus, anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so people will just call in to this hotline, and if you're having a tough moment at any point in time, you can call in and get some support.
Okay. So is calls and text messages as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I guess within this era, whichever
Mhm.
you would like to say, where people utilize these mediums more and more, it's a way to kind of reach out and connect with them
Yes.
in ways that they're very comfortable with. So that's a great initiative, I
Mhm.
find.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a 12-month pilot project
Okay, so
To
they're
start off
launching it
with,
to see
yeah.
how it works.
to see how it works.
that's
yes.
great. To make
Mhm.
sure everything is working good, because with
Yes.
these things you need to make sure things are working good and confidentiality and all that stuff.
It is true.
So that's a good initiative, and yeah, we just wanted to highlight that for you. Also, now getting into our main topic today, we're gonna be defining mental health first, because everybody here is mental health this, mental health that, but they might not know exactly what it means. So for the purpose of this episode, we're gonna define it so we can keep abreast and you guys can keep up with the conversation that we're having here.
So, a brief definition that we can start with is that mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also determines how we handle stress,
Mm-hmm.
how we relate to others,
Yeah.
and how we make choices.
Okay.
And mental health is important at each stage of development.
That's true.
Yeah.
So following on from the definition about mental health,
Yeah.
we recognize that it talks about psychological well-being,
Mm-hmm.
which is a mental well-being that a person can use to function in society and to help them deal with everyday events.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also mentioned the whole aspect of emotional
Yeah.
health, and that is so important in terms of person being able to deal with the emotions, to recognize the emotions, and to deal with them whether they are negative or
Or
positive,
positive.
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
that helps you to you're gonna have we are emotional beings,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have emotions at some point, and you need to be able to deal with them.
And it helps you to interact with others as well, right?
Yeah.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So
I-
even if you're happy,
Yeah.
you can interact with the person.
Right.
If you're angry, you can still have a adequate dialogue or interaction because you're able to manage those emotions.
And I'm glad you said that in terms of negative. Well, I don't want to call them negative because they have a place as well. But for people to understand that you're not always going to be happy or have upbeat emotions. And even though you might be dealing with your mental health, if you're having emotions that are not so good, it doesn't mean something bad, something is
Exactly.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
So being able to deal with it, also experience it and deal with it also is something that's necessary when dealing with your mental health as well.
True. And then there's social well-being. You have to have the psychological. We want to have that emotional well-being, but we also need to have that social well-being where we having that ability to interact and form appropriate relationships. And the three of them together in terms of the mental health helps us, as the definition says, to function effectively in society. You
That's
know.
true. That's true.
But the other thing that we can look at now is looking at the benefits.
So it can help us to cope better with life stresses. Yeah, because at any point or stage in life, we all have stresses that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
So having a good overall psychological well-being can assist with that.
Yeah, also can help you make informed decisions. And making informed decisions is very necessary in terms of moving through life, any stage of life. So you want to make sure you're on top of everything. So being aware of yourself and how you're positioned within society and mentally will help you to be able to make a very informed decision, more holistic than not.
Because I think too, sorry, Fitz,
Go
but I
ahead.
think too, sometimes we don't realize when our psychological well-being is off or our mental well-being is off, and so we can make some rash decisions. So I'm glad you mentioned informed decisions there, because sometimes we can make rash decisions and not realize why we are making them.
And thinking that our process is on point,
exactly.
where it's like altered and we might not have a clue because we're not paying attention
Right.
to our mental state.
And leading on from that, being able to make informed decisions also affects how you work.
That's true.
And if you have good mental health, you're able to work productively. You're able to produce, because you're able to make good decisions, and then you're able to be effective in your work. But deviating from that, your work suffers.
Yeah, and when you said that, being that you're doing that, you'll be able to realize your full potential and to be able to execute and to move forward in any stage of life that you're at, because you're taking into account everything or most things necessary to move on and to meet the mark where your full potential is concerned.
And true, and you also want to be able to make meaningful contributions to society. And being in a good mental state enables you to do that. Sometimes when people are not in a good mental state, they make bad decisions, and their behavior takes away from the well-being of society, because that can cause harm to others, to self or to others. So you want to be in that good mental state that you can be a positive influence and make positive contributions in society.
That's basically something to add on to, I think, what you said earlier. You were making a point about social and behavior and so on. So I was just saying that added on to that bit that you stated. Now we talked a bit about the benefits, went through some benefits, but there are also warning signs as well, as we would have stated that we're gonna go through warning signs, and some of the warning signs could be eating too much, sleeping too much, or maybe too little. So those.
That's true. Sorry, go ahead, Vince.
It's so true. I mean, sometimes people start to eat, and it's just like you know, they just have to keep eating,
Mm-hmm.
and they find themselves trying to deal with their emotions and deal with their situation by eating,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they overeat, so that like every 5 minutes they're eating, or sometimes it's like the food is there, it's delicious, it's well prepared, and just have no interest.
I know. I mean, I've had times where, something would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Something will happen, and then my brain just goes into, I don't know. And then I see food, I'm ready to eat, and I'm like, I can't do this food. Like, I just not there. And, like, mentally, I'm not
Mhm.
there mentally. So, I guess it spills over to the physical, and I don't want to eat. Or even when I start to eat, it just doesn't want to go anywhere, and I just stop.
An example of that would be like sometimes people experience a loss, and because the person is significant
Yeah.
to them,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, they know they should eat,
But they can't.
but just can't bring themselves to,
To
eat.
eat, yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
And then the flip side, like you were talking about in terms of overeating.
yeah,
So, emotional eaters, I think
Mhm.
that's a term that they use, right?
yeah,
And so you may be
Binge
going,
eating, maybe?
yeah, binge eating and all that. If you're going through something like, I guess you would see on TV if a woman's going through a breakup,
Ice cream, a whole
especially
tub.
ice cream and chocolate.
I think they
And
really
just-
exaggerate that, but like chocolate and ice cream sitting down on a sofa in a row for days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And comfort food. I guess that's what you would call it.
Comfort food. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they do.
Exactly.
That's what they do call it, comfort food.
Exactly.
Also, like, pulling away
Mm-hmm.
and not socializing. So maybe a person who, not even a person who socializes a lot, but you're used to doing it, or you do it
Mhm.
in, I guess, in stages or bit by bit, depending if you're an introvert or not.
Yeah.
And you decide, you know what, I don't want to hang out with my friends. I don't want to hang out with nobody. I just want to stay in my room, or just stay away from anywhere people are not. You will find me there.
So going on from what you would have said, Shamar, in terms of the pulling away, sometimes we may have. I think that's something I should say. I think that's something that we don't generally acknowledge.
Yeah.
When, for instance, we have a friend who's accustomed going out with us and everything like that, and then all of a sudden they start withdrawing and not wanting to go anymore. I don't think we see that as a flag or a warning
Yeah.
sign in society.
true, and we even see that in young people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Who sometimes they're social beings. They're interacting with their friends, they're
Mhm.
having fun, and then all of a sudden you're seeing them withdrawing. They no longer want to be a part of the crowd. They don't want
Mhm.
to interact. And all of a sudden now they become loners.
Yeah.
So they pull away from activity that they even love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sports, etc. And they now, seem to gone into a shell
Yeah.
and isolate themselves.
Yeah. That's true. And the thing is, what I'd like to add there is, you could also see it in the stages of development with young people as well.
Mhm.
When they're younger, they're more jovial and they want to play, and they're up in everything. And let's say, for instance, you're the parent, bring home some guests, some friends, and the child is willing to entertain, or
Mhm.
hey, always in the room and so on. And then as they grow older, probably getting preteens, teenage stage, you realize they're not doing that as much, or they're away, they're in their room. So when you bring people over, they're like, nah, going in my room, this is too much. I don't want this type of attention. I just want to be alone. And I just want to say here that that's normal.
Mhm.
That's normal for like teenage stage and process of development. But if like Fitz was stating, if it is that you see them start pulling away now from their friends,
Mhm.
and you start to see this behavior becoming excessive, and they're just withdrawing from everyone, now that is something we ought to pay attention to. That is a serious warning sign that something is up with that particular child.
Mhm. And what about unexpected aches and pains?
Oh,
Those
the
are
aches
things
and the
that
pains.
we they come on and that's something that we don't really see as a warning sign.
True. And sometimes people, start to experience these pains.
Mhm.
They go to the doctor to try to find out what is happening. And the doctor can't find anything. They have all sorts of scans and diagnosis, and there's no reason why they're having these pains. But yet, you know,
Getting the pains.
these pains are there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, you know, because something is happening mentally. You know, they say the mind controls the body, and
It's true.
you know, when mentally you're not healthy, it shows up in so many ways, even in phantom pain sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, nothing physically wrong, but it's pain.
People believe, you know, they might be just tired and need some sleep.
True.
You know, so that's that. And then also, now that you're saying things that are not there are confusing, sometimes when you feel as though your mind is clouded, you know, there's this haze, like, what's going on? Why am I not able to think straight?
Mhm.
You know, you can't get a thought to just join and happen. Like, it's like every time you're in the midst of thinking about something, it's like something cuts it off, and you never get to complete that thought because it's so hazy in your head at the moment.
And forgetting things.
Man,
That's another sign.
yeah.
I mean, yes, we can forget things
I
on
know.
a normal, regular
I
basis,
think I forgot something
but-
today, but
but forgetting things.
yeah.
Being on edge, you know,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong, but all of a sudden you just feel edgy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unexplained sense of anger. You're angry at
Littlest
person-
things.
Slightest
thing,
things.
and people for no reason. You know, nobody didn't do anything, no
Mhm.
reason for you to be angry with them, but yet there's this anger, you know, about people and things, and right. So, Shamar, you mentioned about being confused,
Mm-hmm.
but then the whole aspect then of, you know, persons being worried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing to worry about, but all of a sudden they feel, you know, they're worried about tomorrow, they're worried about, you know, money, they're worried about all sorts of, and with that can come feelings of being scared,
Mm-hmm.
scared about the future, scared about, you know, even going through the door, you know, so, and the thing about these things is that there's no real explanation
For
for
it.
these feelings.
Feelings.
You know, and they're there, they're present, they're persistent, and sometimes they can even get to the point where they overwhelm the person to the point where they seem like, you know, they can't function, you know, they can't get anything done.
Yeah.
I think that might go into having low energy or no energy altogether.
Yeah.
Low
So,
or no.
Low or no. Yeah. So for
Energy
instance,
or
you
nah.
might realize one morning you're laying down in bed and you can't move for
Mhm.
some reason. It's like you just don't have the energy, you don't have the drive to move, and you don't know what's causing that.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like I raise my hand to that. You know, sometimes I am like literally laying in bed and going like, you know, basically debating with yourself like, I really gotta move today.
Mhm.
Like, if I don't move today, well, I mean, what that
What's
will
the-
mean? Like,
yeah,
what will
what
happen?
will
And
happen?
then nothing major is gonna be wrong if I just lay here for a couple more days.
Couple more days.
I'm joking.
Okay.
But yeah, like lay there for a little while longer, you know, and then you have to tell yourself, you know, get up. But I understand that, you know.
Mhm.
But you know the thing about that is that persons in that situation sometimes they want to get up,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost like there's no energy
You
Yeah.
just
to
can't.
Just
actually
can't
get
move.
off the bed, you know.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then even to do things,
Mm-hmm.
simple tasks, even something to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's even a challenge even to do simple tasks as brushing
Your
your teeth. You know, and it can spill out to anything within the house or at work or even to drive a car.
Mhm.
You know, then
That's not good.
you know it seems like they don't have the energy
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that the mental state
Yeah.
that they're in. You know, so you know it showed the underpins the necessity to have good, mental health.
But it's also important to note, though, that each one of these signs, although they can be individual, and people might think, okay, well, I don't have any energy today, or I pull away from people. It's
Mhm.
a combination of these
Yeah.
Yeah.
signs that you have to
Mhm.
take into consideration, and anything that's excessive with the combination, and not just pulling out one thing,
Right.
right?
It's true. Cause I mean, sometimes you may get up one morning and just don't feel to have that energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know if you have that combination
Mm-hmm.
of you know not you know, feeling confused
mhm.
and
Edgy,
edgy and
eating
eating
too much
you know,
or too little.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A
And you have that
combination.
combination and it's excessive.
Mhm.
It shows that there's a need that something is happening
Mhm.
Mhm.
and that you need to do something about it.
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
So guys, just a point. Remember these warning signs. Do not ignore them. Remember them. So eating and sleeping too much or too little,
Mhm.
pulling away from people
Mhm.
that's outside of the norm of what you do,
Mhm.
unexpected aches and pains.
Mhm.
When you start to feel these things, your back hurting you and you're like, nah, I ain't nothing, I just
Mhm.
tired. Feeling unusually confused, like your mind is cloudy. Pay attention to that. Being on edge, scared, maybe angry also. Pay attention to that. Low or no energy.
Energy,
Low
yeah.
or no. Remember that.
Mhm.
Low or no.
You seem to like that
Yeah, I
one.
like that
Yeah.
one. Energy or not, our inability to perform daily tasks. And as Fit said, if you realize that you can't even get up to brush your teeth, it's a problem.
Mhm.
It's a major problem. So
It is.
pay attention to these things. And the thing is, not just if one is happening. If one is happening, if it is a combination
Nation. Yes.
and over a prolonged period of time.
Mhm.
So if it happened one day, don't get alarmed. Be like, oh shoot,
Something is definitely wrong with me.
Oh,
Yes.
something wrong. Just pay attention, and if you realize, whoa, this is now developing into a pattern of
Mhm.
behavior, that's when you go like, okay, warning, acknowledge. I
Right.
need to do something about it.
But there's no need to panic either.
Yeah,
Not to panic, but to seek help.
to seek help.
Seek to address it.
Right. So then now getting into how to keep yourself mentally
Healthy.
Healthy.
Healthy,
Yeah.
good,
And
good.
to maintain it.
To maintain, that's what I
Yes.
was looking for. So
Maintain.
how to maintain your mental health. And like Fitz said, seeking help. You may need to get help. So help might be something that you need to do, and you might need to go there and seek professional help.
Professional help.
Yeah,
Not
not-
just any help.
Not just any help,
Mhm.
not just anybody going like, hey, you got problems, I can help you.
Mhm.
That could land you in some more problems. So to get away from that, seeking help from a professional would be good.
And connecting with people. See if there is anyone that you can connect with, maybe a family member, a spouse, a significant other,
Yeah.
sister, brother, anybody like that.
Yeah,
If you can
'cause-
connect.
Because being able to communicate
Mhm.
and talk, sometimes communication is therapeutic.
Yeah, it is.
Just to be able to discuss,
Yeah.
I mean, sport, to discuss, your feelings. Having that connection shows that you're not alone.
Exactly.
And that, there's still someone there for you. And
Yeah.
then, and in doing that, then there are things that you can do together.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
You
as
know,
a unit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that can help to bring, relief to some situations.
hmm
And then you can even find, solutions,
Yeah. Based
Through
on
together.
through that.
Connection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
connection.
Yeah. So it's therapeutic, but it's not therapy.
It's not
Yes.
therapy.
Well, that's
Just
true.
just
Yeah.
gotta plug that one in there. It's
Yeah.
therapeutic, but it's
Yeah.
not therapy. Not exactly. So still seek help if
Mhm.
need be.
Yeah.
And like you said, in terms of not hitting the panic button, stay positive.
True.
Staying positive, that helps to
It
help you
changes your
to-
mindset.
yeah,
Really. Mhm.
yeah, it helps you to get through it also, because you
Mhm.
need to be positive and believe the things that maybe you will be working on will work, rather than, oh well, this is all going in a direction I don't want it to go
Mhm.
in. Yeah.
And that is so important because the mind is so powerful.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
And if you have negative thoughts and negative outlook on life,
Yeah.
it directs your life into that negative direction.
hmm
But having those positive thoughts and remaining positive, then you can push your life and push your flow in a positive direction.
Yeah.
Because the mind controls a lot. It's like you're driving and you see something off on the side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You look at it. You look way off the road. You look at it. Next thing you know, you find yourself drifting in
towards.
that
It's
direction.
Yeah.
true. It's
You
true.
know. So what you focus on, that positive. Well,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
focus positively, you're gonna go in that direction. But if you focus negatively,
You're going
you're
in that
gonna
direction.
go in that direction.
Mhm.
So
It'll
you want
always
to
be doom and
maintain.
gloom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
don't
they
you
say.
don't want that. No
Yeah.
doom and gloom. We don't want that.
So you want to maintain that positive.
And being physically active.
Yeah.
So exercising.
Yeah.
So even remember you was both of you were talking about when we were talking about connecting with people. That
Mhm.
might be an activity that you can do together
Going in
as
the
well.
gym.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily that.
Not the gym. Okay, but
not the
being
gym,
active
but being
nonetheless.
active.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Going even someone says going for a walk.
Walk. Yes.
You know, a lot you're surrounded by sea. Going for a swim.
Yeah.
You know.
That is true.
You
Yeah.
know. So
Or maybe a sea bath. You know, sea bath. You know. Stay
Yeah.
close to the shore. Just putting that one out there. Mm-hmm.
true. But the whole thing though is, you know, being able to maintain that positive outlook
Yeah.
and maintaining positive mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we said at the beginning, you know, in doing so, being mentally healthy
Mm-hmm.
helps us to be able to function effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't seek to do that,
Mhm.
then you know it leads us into other things
Yeah.
and other issues. So we want to, as we underscore here, the need to implement these things.
Yeah.
You know, to maintain that positive and healthy. We look to maintain physical health. We need to maintain
The
Mental
mental
health.
health. Yes.
And that's great. And you know what? You ended on a good note. I don't
Yes.
think I need
Think
to
that was
say
well said.
anything else after that.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go, remember I said earlier when we started, there's a listener's letter, and this letter is it's a heavy one. It's a heavy one, guys. And you know, we encourage. Just let me grab a phone here because I have to read it. I didn't print it out. But yeah. And we encourage you guys to send us some listeners letters so we can sit down and discuss and provide feedback to you, which we hope benefit and help you along the way as you go through your day-to-day life. So these are completely anonymous, guys. They're anonymous. We are not going to be calling any names or giving any identifying information. So don't worry, your neighbor not gonna know, your boss not gonna know. Only we are going to know. So wow, guys, this one is basically rooted in a form of domestic violence. So I'm gonna read this one here. So I was listening to your recent podcast and I found myself thinking about my life. I am not married, but I have a boyfriend who I have been with for the past 10 years. 10 years, that's a long time. We met when I was in a low point in my life. I was coming out of a nasty breakup, and he was really there for me. However, he seems to think that I am cheating on him. Wow, okay. I have been faithful to him for all of those 10 years, but he says that all women cheat, so he is constantly accusing and beating me. He can be such a nice man except for the beatings, and I honestly try not to provoke him. Listening to your podcast, I realized that he is jealous, and it's not anything that I say or do. I think it's time for me to finally leave him. So yeah, there's that. It's a lot there. So before we fully get into the letter for today, I'm gonna state three things that I suggest you do, and I hope you're watching, listener. I hope you're watching. First, get the police involved. File a formal complaint. Press charges. Secondly, get your support system involved, and the close relatives and friends. Limited though. Don't get everybody involved, but the closest ones to you. Get them involved. Thirdly, I suggest you seek shelter too. And when you're seeking shelter, only let those close relatives and friends know what is happening and where you're going in the early stages of this situation. So those are the three things that I suggest that you do. Okay? A very heavy letter this time around, this episode. And I want to get into, there were some things that I saw some things that jumped out to me. I don't know if you guys saw
Yes.
similar things there, or heard actually as I was reading out the similar things there. And one in particular is when she was talking about him being a nice guy.
A
Like,
nice guy.
aside from the beating,
Mm-hmm.
you
He's a
know,
nice guy.
he is a nice guy,
Mm-hmm.
and that really jumped out to me because it felt as though, you know, she was still trying to basically cushion certain things that were going on in the relationship. So
Or maybe it jumped out to me as well. That same sentence, I think, and maybe she was battling. She's still battling with it in her mind as to if she should really move or if she should stay.
yeah,
So I think these 3 points the three key points that you would have mentioned, I think that those should help her to solidify whether
whether she
she
should,
should stay or whether she should go.
I mean, being that she's reaching out to us,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really, on
Brave
the
in that
verge
aspect, yeah.
of leaving, and she just needs some help and some support. And I'm glad that she actually reached out to us and let us know what was happening. So there was that, and then she was stating that he said that women cheat, and because of that he was beating her because
Mhm.
he felt as though, and he was accusing her of doing these things and saying that she's cheating and so on, and he was beating her.
That suggests something like he's being insecure, you know, because he's accusing her of cheating, and she's saying that she's being fearful all the time.
Yeah.
But the other thing though you mentioned about the, being a nice guy and
Mm-hmm.
and he's nice apart from the beating. That speaks to the domestic violence cycle, where in the beating or the abuse takes place, then there's the apology and the makeup, but then the cycle repeats itself.
Yeah.
And that underscores the need to really do what you advise her,
Yeah.
so that she can get out of that cycle, she can break that cycle,
Yeah.
and to have that, for her own well-being, because eventually if she doesn't, it can lead to death. So we
Yeah.
want to break that cycle before then.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is something that we've recently seen in the media.
Mm-hmm. It's
Something playing out recently in the media, and is a very sensitive subject, very touchy, but something that needs to be spoken about a lot more. And seeing this letter and pairing together with what's going on, or what has happened, I'm thinking that we dedicate next week's episode to talking a bit more on domestic violence,
Mhm.
because with the space of time we have now, we can't really get into it, but we just needed to leave her with those things. So yeah, so next week we're gonna get into it a bit more.
So we want to thank you for writing into us, but we also wanted to let you know that we will contact you. We'll try to contact you after the show and give you some contact information for
Yeah.
some support systems that you can reach out to.
So we definitely want to provide you with support, so we will contact you, as Brenda said, right after we film this episode. And yeah. So in wrapping up the show though, I just want to reiterate to everyone who is viewing or listening that yes, we are in Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to challenge you guys to take care of your mental health. So just reiterating the definition that we provided at the top of the show, mental health includes your emotional, your psychological, and your social well-being. And we want to make sure that it is good. So keep up or upkeep your mental health. So challenge yourself, and I challenge you to keep up your mental health for this month and carrying on. What I'd like for you guys to do is to comment. We want to hear your feedback on the show. We also want you to share, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, the Clinical Hour Podcast YouTube channel. And I think that's it. I think that's it for our episode today. So this is the Clinical Hour.